This is iDesign Lab, a podcast where creativity and curiosity meet style and design. Curator of interiors, furnishings, and lifestyles. Hosted by Tiffany Woolley, an interior designer and a style enthusiast, along with her serial entrepreneur husband, Scott. iDesign Lab is your ultimate design podcast, where we explore the rich and vibrant world of design and its constant evolution in style and trends. Today on iDesign Lab, we're joined by Bret Hedican, a Stanley Cup champion, two-time United States Olympian, and veteran of over 1,000 NHL games. But his greatest play might be off the ice. Bret is now the founder of HEDi, a customizable backpack brand built around celebrating the moments that shape who we are. From championship wins to everyday milestones, he's helping people carry their story with them, literally. Let's dive into his journey from elite athlete to inspired entrepreneur.
Welcome to the iDesign Lab podcast. Today we are excited to have Bret Hedican joining us remotely. But Bret, who has a very long career on the ice, an Olympian, and a Stanley Cup winner, has now become creative director of his very own line, HEDi gear. So
let me add a few things about Bret. So it's 2 Olympic U.S. hockey teams he's played on, over 1,000 professional hockey.
That's crazy.
Which is an amazing feat, and on top of it, he's put the Stanley Cup over his head, raised it, and drank out of it because he won the Stanley Cup as a hockey player. In the last few years, he's been a broadcaster for the San Jose Sharks, and he's still very involved in hockey. But more important and more interesting is his entrepreneurial direction that he's taken in life, which we really want to dive into, having to do with his company, HEDi Gear. So
welcome, Bret.
Man, thank you for the introduction, Scott and Tiff. You guys, I always smile when I think about you two, because we've had so many great moments together over the years. And, the hockey journey, as you guys referenced, a long career, but through that career, you meet a lot of great people along the way. And, Scott, you were the first person I ever met when I was traded to the Florida Panthers. I was on the plane with the team after we met the team in New York. They had played the Rangers, I believe, that night. When me and Pavel Bure got there with the team, and they said, you got to sit here on the plane. The only seat that was left was the seat next to you. And that was when our friendship started.
And a funny thing about that day, which is kind of a first and a last for me, is that was the last time that I spent an evening and an afternoon with my friend John F. Kennedy Jr. I took him to the game. The two of us sat and watched that game. And then I got on the plane with the Panthers to fly home and met you. And it was kind of like the start of our friendship. The same, same
incredible. Just a lot of fun, through the years of playing hockey. And as you referenced, I was really lucky to play in Olympic teams and then play in the NHL a long time, and then did some broadcasting for the Sharks, and now doing some work with the Anaheim Ducks, fortunately, to try to stay around the game. I love working with players, and I love the idea of trying to make guys better. And that's one of my passions as well, is just trying to pay it forward. I had a lot of great people helping me along the way and guiding me. And now I had the opportunity with the Anaheim Ducks and the San Diego Gulls, our minor league team, to work with a bunch of young players. But yeah, my passion as well, and something I started a few years ago, was this HEDigear.com. And it really stemmed from a fishing trip I went on, and we can get into that. But
yes.
You can see my patches and some of my bags behind me. It's been a lot of fun to kind of do something that's outside my comfort zone. Clearly was an athlete, wasn't an entrepreneur. And here I am trying to do, stay in the game of hockey, but yet also trying to be an entrepreneur.
Right. Designing a new business that you've had never done before.
Where did the idea originate from? Well, let's explain what the idea is.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've always, since the day you first told me, I thought it was a fantastic idea. Taking your memories and the things that you love about your life and you want to remember about your life, and carrying them with you by putting them onto a backpack or a bag that you take with you as you travel through life.
Yeah, it happened about eight years ago, and I go on an annual fishing trip with some of my best buds, and we go up to Canada, and we drive. It's about a 6-hour drive in a van, and then we cross the Canadian-American border. We drive another 30 minutes. The float plane's waiting there for us. We get on the float plane. We take it to my buddy's house. And the one year I wanted to do something special for this group, and I went and got these kind of tactical looking backpacks. I brought them to a guy in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota, and I had him put Velcro on the front panels and the side panels. And then I went and got their name tape created. If they ever caught a 40-inch muskie, it's a big fish, not a really good looking fish, but these fish that we catch. If they ever caught a 40-inch muskie, I got a patch for that and I put it on their bag. I went and found every guy's college that they went to, put that on their bag. I created a 50-inch muskie patch that I gave to Greg, whose house we go to. And I said, Greg, you're the only guy that can pass out these patches. If a guy catches a 50-inch muskie that night at dinner, you get to present him with the patch. But over the years, I would collect patches in the winter months. So getting ready for the summer annual fishing trip, I would have all these patches in my pocket ready to go. And at dinner, if a guy did something special, caught a special fish or whatever, I would present them with something that was special or significant in their life that I would do a little research on. Like my one buddy takes his father to the Indianapolis 500 every year. And I found this really nostalgic Indianapolis 500 patch. And well, he caught the biggest fish that day. And I presented it with him. I presented that patch to him at dinner. And so over the years of, 7 years, 8 years of doing this, each of these backpacks kind of became a story of every guy's kind of life and moments that they've had in their life. And that's kind of where the business sparked. I took a photo with all these backpacks laying there next to the float plane. And that's kind of where that idea of, man, I think we've got something here as a business. And here I am.
That's so exciting.
So now how many patches do you have? Because you have so many different categories. I mean, from sports, and tell us more about that.
Yeah. So I think the one thing I've been trying to accumulate here over the little while is licenses, and so I was fortunate enough, being an NHL player, went to the NHL, told them my idea. And so my patches are not iron-on. They actually have Velcro sewn on the back. And all of my backpacks have the loop Velcro, the soft Velcro. So the hook is on the hook patch, Velcro is on the patch, and the loop Velcro is on the bag. And those two are just being able to marry each other. And you can take the patches off and move them around. And those patches, once they're on your bag, they don't come off. I've traveled around the world with my backpack and never have lost one. But the NHL license is one that I have. I've now also accumulated two of the college, holding companies. One is called the CLC, College Licensing Company, and they have hundreds of universities that they take care of their licensing program. And then Exemplar is another one that I have Boston College as one of my universities. But those are two of the licenses I have now. I'm working on more, having great conversations with, the NBA and others, and, trying to, over time, keep acquiring licenses to be put on my bags.
Right. But besides sports, you also have like state parks, you have music. I mean, you have so many other categories, correct?
Yeah. I think the one category, and you mentioned national parks and destinations, we've got destinations from all around the world. It's been fun to kind of give my kids destinations that they've traveled to, Scotland and Ireland and places. My daughter was in a play over at the Fringe Festival in Scotland. It was neat to present her with a patch of Scotland that she had been there. But we also carry these miniature flags, which are really fun, where the more countries you've been to, you can put these little miniature flags on your bag and represent all the places that you've gone to and had experiences in.
Okay, so now you've had this fishing trip and you've been collecting all these patches and this little idea and this business is born. What was your first steps?
Man, I know you guys are entrepreneurial and the steps. And Scott, somebody like you have that blueprint in your brain. But for me, it was, okay, I kind of looked at it as like a little bit in my hockey career, where you just got to start putting one foot in front of the other.
Yep.
Okay, what's the first thing I need to do? Well, first thing I have to think about is how I'm going to create these bags and where I'm going to manufacture them. And then how am I going to create patches? Where am I going to go manufacture that? And you start kind of reaching out to people and different manufacturing companies that you can kind of track down. And that's kind of where the journey started to see, okay, is this possible for me to start doing this? And then once that starts to happen and you start to think about, man, I think I can do this. I think I can manufacture product. Then it's, logo, it's all these other things that are going to come about. And then there's this one moment that, you start getting all your product in and you're still scared on whether or not you're going to launch this darn thing. And you get people around you to say, Bret, you got to go for it. Now is the time. And, and that was the day that, I had somebody inspire me to say, just hit the switch. Let's turn the website on and go for it. And we'll kind of make it happen. But it took a couple years to get to that point, Tiff.
Okay.
And as you know, it takes time to manufacture product. So it doesn't happen overnight, but eventually launched it in, end of 2023, I guess.
So how do people, is it mainly website driven? Is that where people go to purchase, or are you available in stores? Are there pop-up shops? What's the sales drive?
Yeah. So currently we are online. So at HEDigear.com, that's my website. We also sell on Amazon. We sell on Target. We sell on Walmart. We've sold on Temu. So we're on a lot of those platforms. We're also in college bookstores. We've got about 25 college university licenses at this point, and we're working on more of the bookstores currently as we speak. We probably are in 8 stores right now in college bookstores, and working on more. We do have some retail locations as well, Tiff. So these are areas that we continue to try to grow. Love to be able to be in more locations, and that's kind of my goal here in 2026.
But it's a great inspirational story in what you're talking about, coming from a world of sports your whole life, and training for that. And then waking up one day saying, I'm going to start creating this line of bags and, then launching that business. And like you said, continually pushing forward, even though you don't really know where and how to get it all done.
Yeah, I think I can lean on some of the things that I did in my hockey career, Scott. And, there was lots of moments that I had where you fail and you have to go back to the drawing board and you have to think, okay, if I didn't win the Stanley Cup this year, or I had a difficult season, the only place you need to look is in the mirror.
Yep.
And you need to kind of start to think, okay, where are the areas that I am weak? And you have to give yourself honest feedback. And sometimes that honest feedback isn't fun. And as it's hard to kind of look at your own warts and your own things that you have within your own game or your own personality or whatever those things are, and try to address them. And as I did that with my hockey career, and I wasn't afraid of doing that, and I had enough humility. And so for me, humility means that you don't have all the answers. And so that's where I kind of was able to do that throughout my career and go back to the drawing board. And over time in my hockey career, you start putting yourself in good situations to win. And eventually, as you mentioned earlier, we won in Carolina in 2006. But when I raised the cup over my head, it was like, holy cow. And literally the cup is over my head and I'm thinking to myself, I was right. I was right to keep going. I was right to try to keep trying to get better. I was right to not give up on myself and leaning to others, gain support from friends and family and make those calls sometimes to have people pick me up. I was right to just not ever stop trying to get better. And so, with that knowledge of going through that journey, Scott, I think that's kind of what I've tried to apply to business, knowing that I don't have all the answers, and that I can keep going back to the drawing board and looking at myself in ways and reaching out to people to make me a better businessman.
So obviously being an Olympian and also having the hockey career that you had, there's a lot of routine and a lot of repetition and a lot of hard work and perseverance. How do you balance that now in your entrepreneurial role?
Well, your time is valuable and you have to respect your sleep. You have to know that you do have to spend time every day. I do a lot of work on for the hockey team too, and that's really a priority as well. And so managing my time, my spare time, knowing that I can spend on the business, and then surrounding my team, my business team, has been fun to kind of reach out to people to help me with all the little nuances of my business, Tiff, that can take care of things that, are things that aren't my strength.
Right.
And they can take it over.
Delegate.
And, delegate, and making sure that people are doing the things that you want them to do. And then, really supporting your team, being positive with your team and making sure that they know you're here for them when they need you.
So when you started this and you had the idea of doing this, I look at it from a perspective is that you jumped into a lot of things that you probably didn't have experience in: manufacturing, creating a website, figuring out how to, like you said, come up with these and find these patches, the licensing to the patches, the pricing and putting the pricing all together, and then the ship. I mean, there's so many aspects that you had to learn. I mean, was that overwhelming? Did you take one at a time? Did any of that deter you from wanting to go forward with this?
Yeah, you're right. When you start to piece it all together and all the things that you have to accomplish, man, there's a lot there, right? And Scott, being an entrepreneur, and Tiff, being an entrepreneur and your own business as well, there's a lot to tackle. But if I were to look back at where I ended my career, and if I would have given up because of all of the things I would have had to learn to do what we did in 2006 and win a cup, would I have kept going had I known how difficult it was going to be?
Right.
And I think, learning that lesson and knowing that you don't have all the answers and that you're going to have a lot of things that you have to learn is something that I did learn through my hockey career and playing through some tough moments and again, going back to the drawing board so many different times. But Scott, it has been intimidating at times. And Tiff, to answer your question as far as time and how do you manage it, there has been moments where you get a little overwhelmed. And then I just try to breathe, just try to slow down, try to enjoy life a little bit, knowing that sometimes you have to let your hands off the wheel and you got to trust the people around you, and let them do what they do. And then also, believe that everything's going to work out if you keep your head pointed in the right direction and doing the right things. And I think sometimes doing the right things is just being positive, not only with yourself, but the people around you.
So as you've dove into this new, entrepreneurial part with HEDi Gear, what is the most satisfying part for you? Is it like seeing the new patches? Is it seeing the branding come together? Where does the most gratification come?
Well, I was in an airport in San Jose, and I saw this young kid with one of my bags.
That's huge.
Yeah. And I saw the patches on it, and he was so proud. I went over and introduced myself to him. I said, "How do you like your backpack?" And he didn't know who I was at the time yet. And he goes, "Oh," he just was so positive about the backpack, and he loves it. And I said, "Well, I'm HEDi. I'm the guy that started the company." He goes, "Oh," and next thing you know, we took a photo and so forth. But I think my goal is to know that if anywhere you go around the world someday and you see a backpack with patches on it, I want people to say, "Oh, that's a HEDi pack."
Yeah.
That's a HEDi backpack.
Yep.
That's one of those ones that you can put patches on it. And so that's gratifying for me, is seeing my backpack out in the wild. I get photos all the time, Tiff, of people, Mount Fuji. They climb Mount Fuji and they had my backpack with them. And they took a photo.
Crazy.
Yeah. And just special places that people and gathering moments in their life, and that they send me photos from all around the world has been really gratifying.
So do you have a Mount Fuji patch?
I am working on a Mount Fuji patch, Scott. I think that's exciting for me to think about all the places and the patches I still yet to accomplish and get them into the store. But we will continue to grow, hopefully, as I continue to truck along here.
I mean, it's limitless how many patches.
It really is limitless. And you could even have upload images, people to the site, and create them and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and we create custom patches for people.
Okay.
And teams. We worked with lots of different teams that call us and say, we really love to make a 5-year, 10-year, 15, 20, 25-year employee patches. So that's 5 patches right there. We want to do a team logo. We want to inspire. We have a saying that we want to utilize and lean into this year for the year. Can we create a patch for that? And so we'll put this whole program together for companies. And, I think when I look at my backpack, there's a couple of patches. Well, all of them mean something to me, but there's a couple that really are the ones that set me on a course in my life that it taught me what a team looks like. There's the patch from 1994 Stanley Cup Finals patch. We lost in Game 7. It's kind of a painful moment because when you don't win, you get all the way to the end in Game 7 and you lose. But what I felt in those moments of 1994 and that patch and what it means, it was one of the greatest teams I'd ever felt from the inside. And the support that every guy gave one another, there was a reason why we had success. And when I see that patch, it reminds me of
that feeling,
that feeling and what teamwork looks like. And so, that's why I like doing custom patches for people and teams and why we're capable of doing some really fun things to inspire people to keep doing amazing things.
So how many backpacks do you offer now, or bag styles?
We offer 6 back. Oh yeah. Sorry, Tiff. We offer 6 backpacks and I'm working on 2 new ones and I'll grab them. This is,
oh, that's a good, I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, so this is a kind of a fanny pack that we've just recently worked on. And these will be coming out fairly soon.
Yeah.
And then we also did like a crossbody like this that comes in on the body. It comes this way. So, so another bag that we're working on. So total, it'll be 8 bags when those are in stock.
So do you see more coming? More styles, more types of bags?
Yeah, I hope so, Scott. I think that's the area that I need to improve. Styles that will really resonate with the people today. And I think we're doing a decent job. I know that's an area that I want to continue to improve upon. And, business development is something that I want to, get the right people on board my team to help me continue to grow in the bag area for sure.
Yeah. So there's another title you can put to your name, designer.
Well, yeah,
you're a designer because you're designing bags, you're designing patches. You've designed this new business, so there's a creative side to it, not just the business side to it, that you've dove into. And it's extremely creative what you have put together here. I mean, the design behind it all, the idea behind it all, and it's letting people really design their life, taking what, the design of their life and put it onto something they're going to carry with them.
Like
and
those
show
memories,
off and it's showing off the design of their life.
Well, it is when you carry one of my backpacks or bags around even an airport or travel around the world, you're going to get stopped. People are going to come and ask you what the patches mean. And there's definite, it's a story that just continues to open, that every person's got their own story. Everybody's got their own journey. And I think when we're on that journey, it's the moments that we've learned on how to do something, or a moment that changed your life forever when you traveled to a certain destination that you never will forget that, and life will never be the same afterwards, right? These are things that we stand for. But it's you're right, Scott. It's a designer could be added to the title, but I think, again, the humility of not knowing all the answers and trying to continue to get better is one of the things I continue to lean on.
Yeah.
So do you still carry that first HEDi backpack, or in your fishing crew, do they still have the same one, or have they evolved? And then do you just move the patches?
A lot of them have kept the very first backpack that I created, but they all have one of my HEDi packs too. So they utilize both for sure. They have been, I think because they fell in love with that very first one that I ever created for them. It's been hard to separate from that.
So question, have you thought about a duffel bag or, I think about this because before we started this podcast, we were talking about music and our girls and so forth. Excuse me.
Well,
And,
even the bags for music equipment.
yeah,
too.
a guitar bag. I mean, I just think of our kids with their guitar bags going out.
Well, I've already created samples for a duffel bag. I've already created samples for an electric and acoustic guitar.
Oh, you're ahead of the game. All right, good.
Yeah, I've already got those ready to go, and they're really cool. I think once we start maybe Sweetwater or Guitar Center or somebody like that I could, create a relationship with, that we could do patches that could go on there. I mean, you think about all the rock concerts that people go to, and I really feel like, my company, we've always kind of referenced it as we're a cross between a letter jacket and a guitar case. Right. We're somewhere in between there where, these different moments of guitar, rock bands that you've either seen or, backstage passes that you have that are on your guitar case to the letter jacket that you've had accomplishments. So I think we're somewhere in between there, Scott. But yeah, I do have samples for all of those things, and hopefully we can start manufacturing those someday when we get the right relationships built.
So as the HEDi gear continues to grow, who is the best at putting your message out there? I mean, obviously your story is great, but is it social media? Is it aligning yourself with, cross promotion? We kind of talk about that a lot here too, just how social media is such a huge way of getting the brand awareness out there.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work in that social media arena, Tiff. I'd say, Instagram, Facebook, Google Ads. We've also tried to work with Amazon as well. Working with the National Hockey League and even some of the universities. We worked with influencers in college. I know the whole college environment now with the NIL and working with college athletes in general is a new landscape that people are learning. But, for all the bookstores that we're in and some of the campuses, we've tried to find, 5 to 8 athletes within a campus to be able to support their journey, give them
brand
a backpack.
Ambassador type of thing.
Yes, exactly. Brand ambassadors that we've worked with some of these universities have been really fun. Not only for them to carry my bag and to utilize the patches and be able to represent their university, but also to kind of start to learn who these athletes are and follow them a little bit on their journey, and as we follow them on social media. So that's been a really fun thing for me too, being an athlete and a student athlete and what it takes to be able to keep all those things together. It's almost like what you had referenced before, Tiff, and asking me the question as far as time. I almost feel like student athletes are so focused because they have to be. They can't be out doing a lot of other things, partying, all those other things, because they got to study. They've got to get to class. They've got to work out. They've got to get the practice. And before you know it, you become this really regimented person that can get a lot of things done. So we love student athletes and the way they are committed to their sport.
So that's really who you guys align with primarily right now.
Yeah, I'd say that's who we're aligning with right now. But I think I'd love to lean into you more, Tiff, to figure out who else we can align to. I think you guys are so good at this stuff, and why I love talking to you guys, even not on the podcast. I mean, I love talking to you guys in general to find out what are some of the things you guys are doing to help your guys' business grow, and I'm always willing to learn.
So do you go to any conferences that that are about entrepreneurship that you found helpful?
Yes, I have been working with somebody here in San Diego, helping me just become use AI a lot better.
Wow.
I think when you're a small company, teaching your people how to use AI is something that I think is extremely important. Because you can make yourself bigger than you are. You can add 10 employees by just using AI.
Isn't that the truth? Jeez.
Yes, it's been phenomenal to kind of learn how I can utilize that more deeply. Yeah, we do some conferences as well. I know we just were in the sports licensing show and tailgating show in Vegas. CAMX is coming up and we're going to also go. That's for the college bookstores. So I know my team is ready to do those expos. But overall, it's, again, I think learning how to continue to grow and be bigger than we are right now as a company, and knowing that at one point we're going to just, you hope you just take off.
So where do you like, what is your goal set for the future? I mean, do you see a brick and mortar, or like what would be the next like pinnacle?
Yeah, brick and mortar would be terrific. I think if you walked into a, Target, let's say, or Walmart during school, before, back to school time, and you have an opportunity to buy a backpack that's plain, or you
Yeah.
have an opportunity to buy a backpack
Agreed.
that's a HEDi,
Yes.
and you've got the opportunity to embellish it with different patches and different inspiring quotes or whatever that might look like. That would be something that I could see moving forward. I'd love to be able to be in a sporting goods store where you walk in there and you want to have the Minnesota Timberwolves, you want to have the Minnesota Wild, and then you want to have the Minnesota Vikings and the Minnesota Twins all on your backpack. Kids just don't want one logo on their backpack anymore.
Right.
They want multiple logos. And so,
absolutely.
yeah, I see us in both of those arenas, Tiff. I would love to be in
So
brick and mortar.
exciting.
Yeah, that's
I
really
think
where
the
I think we can
Target
go.
concept for back to school is really cool. What about
I think so
Olympic
too.
crossover too, with the
Oh,
Olympics coming to California and your backyard and your history there?
I would absolutely love to be involved with the Olympic team, particularly the United States team, and or the Olympic Committee in general. I think that connection with the country, with your teammates, your number. There's so many things that we can do, inspiring things that they can remind themselves that is on their bag. Leadership patches that you can put on your bag. There's just so many things we could do, but that would be a terrific bridge over, Tiffany, to be able to do that, connect that dot with the Olympic Committee.
Let's go back to the beginning when you first started this for a minute. When you came up with this idea and you started talking to friends and people and so forth to help or to get information, did you face any skepticism?
One of my good buddies, Greg Gardner, who's had some success like you, Scott, in business.
Yeah, I know Greg.
I was skeptical of myself, right? I was thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? And reaching out to Greg, I'm like, Greg, you want to help me? And he's like, nope. Nope, you've got this. And I think I asked him once, and then I asked him one more time, and he says, nope, you got this. And I think hearing that no twice was enough for me to kind of get punched in the nose and to know that, okay, sometimes you just got to believe in yourself. And I think that's been one of the things I've had to do through this process is know that you've got to be able to believe and invest in you.
Well, that's something that you clearly have known since you were young. I mean, to keep up, the intensity that you had to maintain in your youth to become as successful in hockey, that's definitely something you live by.
Yeah, there was many moments. One that comes to mind is freshman in college. I was recruited to be a forward in college, but I never played forward, the position in my life. I was always defenseman. Mm-hmm. And so as a freshman, being in the position that I never played before, I was in and out of the lineup. And the nights I wasn't playing on a weekend, I was up in the corner of the building hitting the play button on the cassette player to be able to play music on the intercom during the game. And so literally you go from that as a freshman to walking in the coach's office after the season saying, listen, coach, I know you recruited me as a forward, but I've never played the position in my life. Give me a chance at defense. And he says, I'll come back next year as a defenseman. We'll see how it goes. I think, years later, I asked him about that. And he said, yeah, I thought I was going to cut you off the team your sophomore year, but I came back, made the team as a defenseman, had a really good, solid sophomore year. And that's when I took off my junior year as a defenseman. And I guess the rest is history. But there was moments like that throughout my career that I had to continue to believe in myself, even when the chips were against me. And there are moments where I could have quit on myself, but I didn't. And I think learning those lessons early in life have now helped me as well as being an entrepreneur.
I love that. So where do you think that growing up in St. Paul, Minnesota?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it, Tiff.
Yep.
So do you think that those were the values instilled back then?
I think watching my parents, both work a couple of jobs, as a kid. My dad had a job, but he was also a volunteer fireman. So I grew up with, in the middle of the night, you'd hear this, this alarm going off, which was his pager that would wake him up, where he'd have to get up and get down to the fire department downtown North St. Paul, and he'd have to go fight a fire. He was also a paramedic for a while. My mom had a couple of jobs that she had as well. And so them working as hard as they did through my youth, I just watched them give me the opportunities that I was afforded to have because of their hard work.
Right.
And so I think, watching them do that is instilled a lot of work ethic in myself. I hope I can be as hardworking as they were, when I was growing up. And I really always appreciate my parents for what they did for me to give me the opportunity and the things I was able to do.
So you currently you have about hundreds of patches, thousands. Do you know how many you have at this moment?
Yeah, we've got about 900 patches.
900. So that's probably going to continue to keep growing.
Exponentially, I would think.
Yeah. Is there one patch right now that you have that kind of sticks out for you that, than all the rest? Is there one that's more meaningful to you?
Yeah. There's this one, that Trip Tracy from the Carolina Hurricanes. He's the color commentator who does the commentary for the Canes. And he created a patch called Dig In. And I got that on my bag. And I guess for me, dig in just means, again, that you get to these moments that you want to you don't have the answer and you want to give up, or you doubt yourself. And, some days you just got to say, look, I'm just going to dig in. I'm going to take one step today, and I'm going to take one step after I take that step. And then I'm going to keep moving forward. And with that process, it reminds me some days just to know that, this could be a day that you're just going to have to dig in.
That's a great one, actually. I love that. So for the patches and in the designing process of all these patches, is there a certain size that you seem to stay within, or is there something that could be too small, too big?
Yeah, I try to use that 3-inch as kind of a barometer, Tiff, just to be able to know that if it's anywhere around that 3-inch, let's say it's lengthwise, it might be a little bit longer, and then maybe width, it might be a little bit more narrow. So, but overall, the 3-inch is really, I think, a sweet spot for us.
And typically on the bags you have, how many patches can you fit on a bag?
15, sometimes more, depends how big they are. For some of my bags, you probably wouldn't be able to get that many, maybe like 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the backpacks I have, the loop Velcro panels all on the front and then also on both sides. So you can do patches on all 3 of the 4 sides, Scott. So it gives you an opportunity to really embellish and be able to customize and personalize the backpack and the bag.
Have you been able to kind of quantify or notice or see people who have been buying patches, how many they're typically buying if they're really into the bag and changing?
Yeah, a lot of times we'll get a purchase of a backpack, and a lot of times they'll get 2 to 3, patches to start.
Yeah, that's what I wondered too.
Yeah, and I think moving forward, Scott, we're going to be doing that a lot more as far as packaging backpacks with 2 patches to start, where you get those included in the sale of the backpack or the bag. I think anytime you can just get a customer kind of going in that direction, it'll bring them back for more. And that's what we'll be focusing on 2026.
And where do you see most people picking patches? Is there a particular category that people seem to be more interested in displaying?
I think the license patches are the ones that are really most popular. The collegiate and the NHL, and the miniature flags, I think, are the ones that really sell the most of. I think right behind that is the national parks. We've worked with a great partner from Canada that we get some of our national park patches from, which has been exciting. And then, maybe the destination and music patches are the ones that are really behind those. But really the license patches are probably the most popular.
So when you said flags is what you said?
Miniature. Yeah, I've got the miniature.
So are these the flags of the countries?
Yeah. Yep.
Or states?
Country flags, state flags too, Scott.
Okay.
Well, like they are all part of making the notations on the bag of who's the beholder, basically. All the things people identify with.
So the current bag that you're carrying,
what's on it?
What's on your bag?
What's on my bag?
Yeah, that you're currently carrying.
Can I go grab it?
Yeah, grab it, because that'd be interesting. See how much hockey related it might be, or is it destination? Okay.
Oh, there it is.
We were just saying while you were getting it, is it more hockey related? Is it more destination related?
Okay, so this is my current bag, and there you see my.
There's your dig in. I love that one.
The Stanley Cup.
This is my 1994 patch that I referenced earlier.
Yep.
That I keep on my bag, and then on this side, clearly I have the USA, Canada. Love Canada's. I lived there for the Canucks for a while.
Olympic.
My Olympic patch, and then here's my St. Cloud, my Stanley Cup, the NHL, and then also the 2006 Cup team. But on the front, these are special too. So about 7 years ago, I started doing some martial arts and kung fu in Alamo, California. And so this is their logo that I created these patches for them. This is the 50-inch muskie patch that is only awarded to somebody that
catches the 50.
Catches the fish.
That's right. Obviously the kung fu. I created these patches for our fishing trip last year. The guys I awarded after every night, I gave a guy a patch, and this was the patch I gave. So we call it Life 360, our group up there that fishes, because we have the 5 days a year that we spend fishing together, and then we can't wait when it ends for the 360 days to go by to then.
So that's so cute.
And that's what Life 360 means. And then these are just flags that all mean something to me up on top. So there's my HEDi pack.
There's your HEDi pack. I love it.
Yeah.
So you have two daughters. What do their HEDi packs resemble?
Music, dance, school, their college logo, they've got one of those on their bags as well. So they've just been chipping away at adding little memories and some of the miniature flags that they've been able to hit some of the countries over the last couple of years as well.
So you've got patches basically for any age group.
Yes. Yeah. What's been fun, Scott, is people say, who's your customer? Man, if I could pinpoint our customer to one segment or age group, I don't think I can. I think we've had companies, we've had businesses, we've had teams from all different types of walks of life, if you will. Students from college to grade students, sixth graders to even younger. So I'm really excited about really the breadth of customer that we do have. And I don't know if I could really pinpoint it yet.
So what's the typical price point for bags? What's from like high and a low?
Our base camp model is $45 to $50. And then we go, we have several bags around that $70 mark. And then our top of the line bag is what we call our Summit, and that's $119.
Yeah, so
so we have a
great
good range of
great pricing compared to bags that,
it's competitive pricing for sure.
Definitely.
And then typically, what is the patches cost an individual?
Yeah, like the miniature flags are around the $7 mark, Scott, and then our license patches go from $14, $13 in that range to sometimes $15 for some of the NHL licensed patches. Our destinations and national parks are around 11 or 12. So you can get a lot of great moments on your bag, that to get you started for sure, that keep you in range.
So an individual or a company or a team that would like to have their own patch made, what's the time frame for that patch to be made and they could have it?
Well, the one thing I recommend with people when they send our team a design is, to have the logo, have edges around like some sort of shape.
And in the beginning.
And from that point, once I have my team has a shape or the size of the patch that we can agree on, it's sent to the factory. My team then produces a sample. And then within probably 4 days, we give the customer the sample to approve. Once it is approved, it takes about 3 weeks to really get the patch manufactured and then be able to ship it to the customer.
And all the patches are embroidered?
Yes, all of the patches are embroidered, and all of the patches come with the Velcro sewn in the back of the patch, so it can be just applied to our loop Velcro bags immediately.
So it's not just
no ironing or no sewing on the patch onto the bag. It just is placed on the bag, and then you're able to pull it off and remove it and put it somewhere else on the bag if you wanted to. But our patches are made to be applied right to the backpack and bag immediately.
Right. So the consumer can move the patches around whatever they want, however they want. They could change them every day if they wanted.
That's right. That's what's fun. And you can trade them. You can trade them with a friend.
That's cute too.
You get a patch that you like or that you want from a friend, and they've got one of yours that they want, and you can just pull it off and you can trade with a friend and put it on your bag immediately. But you can move them anytime you want, Scott. That's what's exciting.
Yeah, I could see down the road you having commemorative special patches with a limited edition, where you're only making, say, 500 of a particular patch, and those 500 people, the only 500 people in the world that have it. If you want to get it, well, then you got to try to put it in an auction or see if you can buy it from someone.
That's right. Yeah, we did that for the first time. We were at the World Junior Championships this last just about a month ago, and we were able to do a collector's edition World Junior patch, and it turned out great. I think people really responded well to it, and our team sold a lot of that patch, which is exciting to see. And now they can go to the website, they can put their name, their email address, and register the patch, because each one had its own serial number. So
that's so cool.
This is something we're just starting to kind of get more into, our team, and I'm hoping, Scott, that we'll do a lot more of it in the future for sure.
How often do people come to you to request a new patch design? I would think that
we have people sending us notes a lot saying, hey, would really love a Sanrio patch. We really want, we, by all means, we'd love to be able to make some of these patches, but a lot of the ones that people are requesting are ones that require a license.
Okay.
And so that's where we have to manage, the opportunity to get the license, to then acquire that, to then be able to make the patch with Velcro. So we as we continue to grow as a company, we'll continue to acquire more licenses and have more, licensed brands on our website that we're able to sell.
And then when you coordinate by having a licensed brand, do you have to give them payment, like a fee?
Yes. All of the, licenses that we acquire, they come with an advance.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Royalties?
Yeah. Well, there's two things. You have to pay in advance first to be able to acquire the license.
Yep.
And that advance then is, every time you sell a patch, it kind of works against the royalty. And at some point you'll pay the royalty all the way back that you've already advanced them. And then you'll have to pay a percentage of every sale after that moment.
So interesting.
It's their way that the brand or the licensor, let's say the NHL or the CLC in every college and university is different. Sometimes you have a smaller fee for a smaller school and a larger fee for a more popular school. That you have to pay in advance yearly, and then you hopefully make all that money back and then some within every advance that you have to pay out for a licensed patch. But there's fees to that, Scott, and that's why. And then the relationship that you have to acquire the license as well.
Right. Well, that's like a whole business in itself
Yeah.
from what you're doing. When you're getting into licensing, that's a whole nother art of negotiating and a whole nother art of business that you've incorporated into what you've put together that actually makes it a little bit more difficult than your average business in just manufacturing and then going and selling a product. So there's a lot to say what you've gotten yourself into and have accomplished.
Yeah, huge growth opportunity as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're right, Scott. And Tiff, it's been that's a huge learning curve when it comes to
Correct.
licensing, and to be able to navigate those waters, to be able to contact the right people, to be able to acquire the licenses. It is a whole separate business that you have to be able to be ready for sure.
So
Well, it's also is whoever that licensee is, it's them having the credibility or they're believing in you that you're going to handle their license properly. So there's a lot, of a relationship that needs to be built of trust.
That is, you're absolutely right. I mean, you must know a little bit about licensing, Scott. I'm sure you do. And that whole part of working with a brand to be able to them to trust your company, to be able to build it in a way where it not only represents their brand the right way, but then
Correct.
also that you'll produce enough sales for them to make it worthwhile for them to give you the license to be able to sell the patch. So a lot to that relationship that has to go on, and a lot of trust as well.
Yeah.
So with hockey being such a huge part of your life and a huge, obviously, focal for your career, do you ever see this becoming a full-time effort?
I do someday see this as being a full-time effort, and something that I would love to see this business take that next step. And yeah, Tiff, that's the goal.
And where would you base out of? Have you thought of that? Or is there a certain area that leans, pulls weight more than another?
You've spent a good part of your life in Minnesota. Then you've spent a long time in Northern California. Now you're, I say, a short period of time in Southern California. But then you've also North Carolina, Florida, Canada, places that you live because of career. Is there a place that would be
Home
the
base.
destination that you'd love to kind of end up at? Have you thought about that?
I haven't even kind of crossed that bridge yet, but I'm enjoying San Diego right now. I think I love this area. I'm downtown here, and it's just been a great place to live. I think right now this will be home base for a while. And still, obviously, I love being back in Minnesota and in the summers as well. But for the most part, I think this San Diego will be my home base for now.
But it doesn't really matter with that business where you could be, correct?
No, there's no reason why I have to stay in California here,
Right.
or where I've got to be. I can be anywhere at this point. But yeah, the hockey part and the passion there, Tiffany, is still something that's inside me, and still wanting to give back there. But there hopefully is going to be a moment where it'll be, to see if this business can turn out to be something. You've got to go all in.
So when you say that this business can turn out to be something, quite frankly, I look at it and hear you, and what I've seen you do with it over the last few years is it's become something. It is something. I mean, at what point are you going to say, okay, now I've really gotten to where I want to be with this? Is there something in your mind where you think that? Or
I think there's so much growth here available still. And I think there's such a big runway to continue to see where this company can go. I don't know when that moment will be of, man, I can look back and say, wow, I think this is exactly where I had imagined it. I think going back to Tiff's question earlier, and where we can see this in different stores and different brick and mortars, is really that goal of mine someday, where people really want to have a backpack that has more meaning to it than just a plain backpack, and having it in stores where you can do that. That'll be a moment for me when those things are happening, and we're starting to see, backpacks walking around in the wild,
Right.
all over the place that have patches on them that tell a story.
so for people listening or watching to this podcast, where do they go purchase their first HEDi?
I would say HEDigear.com would be the best spot to come. So it's just HEDi, like Yeti, except with an H, gear.com. And you'll see the website. It's a great website, and you'll be able to, find your backpack, find your patch, kind of get your story started. It's probably the best place to start, Scott.
Okay.
Well, Bret, always a pleasure to talk with you and spend time together. And it's been fun to watch this grow and evolve, and, look forward to going to Target one day and creating our backpack.
Or seeing it in Target.
Yeah, I would love that too. Well, Tiff and Scott, I really appreciate your guys' time. I miss you guys. I can't wait to see you down in Florida sometime soon.
Well, we hope
Same
it's
here.
real soon. Thank you.
Tell your daughters I miss playing guitar with them.
The same goes, they'll say back to you.
Yes,
I know that.
exactly.
You're part of the inspiration that got them going when the 2 or 3 times you came and played with them. They really loved that kind of camaraderie of playing with someone else. And they have referred back to the videos that I took back then numerous times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always looked forward to coming into Florida when I was doing the broadcasting.
I know. That was fun.
And then being able to come over to your house and being able to play guitar, and we'd play guitar, and other daughter would play the drums, and then your other daughter would play the piano, and then we'd have everything going at the same time and playing music. But it's fun to see how far they've all come since then, and the music that they're creating, and I can't wait to see where it ends up going for them.
Well, thanks for spending the time with us on the iDesign Lab.
Well, thank you for having me, Scott and Tiffany. It's always great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
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 iDesign Labs podcast is an SW Group production in association with the 5-Star and TW Interiors. To learn more about iDesign Lab or TW Interiors, please visit twinteriors.com.